And a good afternoon to everyone. Hopefully, you guys are doing great. It's been, what, a week, 2 weeks since we've been live. So it's mighty good to see y'all. And welcome in, Rachel. Thanks so much for coming in. Hopefully, folks will come in here a little bit later. Uh, it's been a hectic 2 weeks. I know I was off, but working in the garden, getting it caught up, and dealing with doctor's appointments and just having a good old time. Uh, got to release our video for the week this week. Yesterday, we did, I believe it's the video on me out in the yard teaching you guys how to do crowts. So hopefully, you guys got to see that. And it's so easy, it's just that simple. Uh, I would like to make a recommendation though. July is about the best time to start crout because it's so hot and humid more, like for longer periods of time. So my crop made, but it's not as good as it normally would be because it wasn't, hot for multiple days like it is now, but it's still made. And I'll show you guys that here in just a minute. Uh, Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Well, this thing will work. There we go. There we go. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Uh, yeah, like I said, I'll show you guys what the crop looks like now. It was pretty good. I actually took it to work when I went back to work and had hot dogs and chili and kraut. So pretty good. Like I said, the weather's better in July for kraut though. Oh, that video was actually made 2 weeks ago. This kraut came, well, actually been 3 weeks ago that I made that video. Yeah, I usually make them ahead of time when I can. So that video's been up since before I was on vacation or ready. So, like I said, we've already had this. That's our kraut there. Good eating, smells great. See inside of there. Uh, but like I said, uh, July is the best time to make kraut, starting in July because the weather, as you guys have seen, has been hotter than all get out for the last few days. Welcome in, Jackie. Good to see you. Thanks so much. The constant hot weather for a longer period of times is what you want. No, well, kind of, yes, actually, Karen. It absorbs the water. Um, that's why you have to pack this stuff in there good and tight and keep filling it, and it will absorb the water. Boy, is it good. There is still some water in this. It just doesn't look like it, but it's full up to like right here with water. But it just looks like it. But a lot of store bought kraut, they're left in a brine. Like they make the kraut, put it in there, and then they pour some kind of brine over it. And I do not like that. Oh yeah, it definitely is crunchy. My goodness. Oh yeah, it's just like you just shredded it up. It's really good stuff. Um, I took, see, I had what, one jar, which was actually this one. I didn't have enough water in it, so uh, it didn't mold. It just kind of discolored. Uh, I scraped that off, threw that stuff in the garbage, and put it in the refrigerator, and we've been eating on it. I gave my dad a jar and one of the neighbors a jar. So this stuff right here will be really good baked with some sausage and tomatoes and stuff like that. So it's going to be good. Like I said, I had it with some chili and hot dogs the other day. It was really good. So, but I think the best time to make Crouts July though, because it's hotter. The temperature's a lot warmer than they were in June. So, but man, right now it's perfect. It is such a scorcher out there. My goodness, if you don't watch what you're doing, you will definitely get overheated. So, like I said, it's good to see y'all. Kind of good to be back on here. And actually, yesterday, I got a story written and recorded, and all the audio editing done. Let's see. Oh, they're pretty good. We went shopping today. It's about all we've done, but it was a submission. I'm actually kind of behind. I got 2 or 3 stories that were submitted. This one involves, like this book here, the folklore. Well, it involves a folklore story and a little fella finding out just how real some folklore is. So you guys will have to tune in for that one. The one that is coming out this next week was a submission. Oh, Dad's good. He's good. Just same old same. But it was also a submitted story by our awesome brother David Blair. His grandfather had a experience way back in the day, back in the early 1900s. An incident happened there in the town that they live in, and you'll have to tune in and find out exactly what happened and what happened afterwards. So I think I was told there's going to be a second part to it. So when we get that, we'll continue on with that. But either way, some good videos coming up, and can't wait to get them out and ready for you guys to watch. But I guess with that, I'm going to get me off of this old screen, and we're going to dig into this Appalachian Folklore Unveiled book. And today's topic is animal omens, because now we're in the omens section. Let's see. Animal omens have a special place in Appalachian folklore where the behaviors and appearances of animals are often believed to foretell events, offer guidance, and carry some symbolic meaning. These omens are deeply rooted in the connection between the natural world and spiritual beliefs of the Appalachian people. Here are several omens with their interpretations in Appalachian folklore. And there's only 5 in this one. Black cats. Similar to broader Western superstitions and Appalachian folklore, if a black cat crosses your path left to right, it is considered a particularly bad omen. This may signal impending bad luck or the presence of an evil spirit. To counteract this bad luck, some believe you should take 3 steps backwards and then make the sign of a cross, Xing out the bad luck. Now, this one in particular, I've seen. I swear I could have beat a fella one time. I was helping him move his daughters from an apartment into a house, and he was driving the truck, and a black cat crossed his path. He stopped the truck, backed up, and turned around and went nearly an hour out of the way just to make sure not to cross that black cat's path. So strange. Now, this next one's butterflies. Butterflies are associated with transformation and renewal. Seeing a butterfly is often considered a positive sign, symbolizing the potential for growth, personal growth, or positive change. Spiders. Finding a spider is often a sign of good fortune, prosperity, or protection. Killing the spider, however, may bring bad luck. For some people, finding a spider may entail a new pair of drawers. So, who knows? Snakes. The presence of snakes is often considered a sign of danger or misfortune. Killing a snake is believed to bring bad luck, while others associate the snakes with healing and transformation. Well, you guys saw that big snake that we had in our garden, but I let that thing go. It was a good snake that kills all the poisonous. So, and finally, bats. In Appalachian superstitions, the presence of bats is considered a sign of impending death or misfortune. Some of these I've never heard of before, and some of them I lived. So that's this week's animal omens. Let's see. Like I said, some of them I've never heard of, especially the spider one. Some of that's somewhat strange. Finding a spider is good fortune and prosperity. I've never heard that. And a bat is a sign of impending death or misfortune. I've never heard that either. But black cats, I've always heard that, and that's a pretty well known one. But strange. Like I said, I've experienced the black cat one, and I swear I could have beat that old guy for making us go nearly an hour drive out of the way. But anyway, all right. Now today's story from our creepy campfire story book is the spirit of Hogpen Branch, and I believe that it actually takes place in Florida. So let's get into this one. Now this one is long. I'll have to kind of warn you. It says, one summer night, my wife Sarah decided to take our daughters out for a girls' night. Welcome in, Niecy and David. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it. Of course, being the 6-year-olds they were, they rubbed it in my face. I went along with it and acted super jealous. However, I was excited to have the house to myself for a night. Eventually, I decided to go golfing before sunset. It was probably around 6 o'clock, so I still had plenty of time. I got ready to leave the house and hopped in the golf cart, the seat still warm from the day's heat. To get to the green, I had to drive down the street and go through a little alley nestled between two houses. Let's see. Welcome in, Jackie. If I didn't say hello, sorry about that. It was a short drive before I got to the cart path, which was a little bridge running over a creek called Hogpen Branch. There, this is where I had my first strange occurrence. As I was going over the bridge, I heard a splash. I jumped off my cart and leaned over the bridge to see what caused this disturbance. To my surprise, there was nothing there. Unlike the creek further upstream, it was fairly clear. Not a thing like the crystal waters of Florida, but I could see the bottom. However, there was nothing, not a fish, not a turtle, nothing. I dismissed it as someone skipping stones upstream and continued on my way. The wheels of my cart crunching the gravel path. I golfed for maybe 2 hours before it got too dark to see the ball. The air had cooled, and a light mist was beginning to form on the greens. I was I packed up my clubs and began to drive home. The path was long and took me a good 5 minutes to navigate. I was starving and planned on cooking burgers later that night. As I was driving along the trail, I noticed a few balls someone had forgotten to retrieve from the sand trap. Needing more balls, I stopped to collect them. I bent over to pick them up, and a loud shriek sent a chill down my spine. I glanced in the direction of the noise and saw nothing except trees and the bridge in the distance. I stared hard, looking for maybe an injured animal. Initially, I thought it could have been a fox cry due to its distinct sound similar to a scream. Then a thought clicked. Maybe it was an animal struggling from falling in the water from the splash I heard earlier. It had been a while since I heard the noise, but foxes are known to be strong swimmers. I jumped in my cart and sped over to the bridge, which was maybe 100 yards away, hoping I could save the animal's life. However, when I arrived at the bridge, there was nothing there. I searched under the bridge and around the area, the beam of my flashlight cutting through the growing darkness. But there was nothing. I thought it was odd, but dismissed it and hopped back into my cart. I drove home and cleaned up. By the time I had showered and gotten ready to grill my few patties, it was already dark. I grabbed some meat from the fridge and headed outside. The night air was cool against my skin, carrying the earthly scent of the nearby creek. I cleaned off the grill, threw a few patties onto it, the sizzle of the meat hitting the hot metal. I put on some music and sat back, watching the flames turn the meat brown. I stood up and walked over to flip the patties. Just as I was about to flip one, I heard a screech. I jumped. My heart was racing. I quickly flipped the patty and then walked over to the creek, only to find nothing again. At this point, I was getting creeped out, so I finished my patties off the grill and headed indoors, made my burgers, and sat down at the dining table. Let's see. The table faced the window. I stared out at the dark yard, illuminated only by the glow of the porch light and the ethereal blue of the pool light. I saw nothing as I ate my burgers in silence, with only the soft ticking of the kitchen clock. When my family arrived, they came in, their voices echoing through the quiet house. Exhausted from their night out, the kids came over to me, gave me a hug, their small arms warm around my neck. Then they went upstairs to get ready for bed. I sat at the table thinking I probably looked so creepy as I glared out the window. My thoughts were confirmed when my wife asked, "What is wrong?" "I've been hearing things. I'm not sure what." She replied, "Well, what did they sound like?" I said they sounded just like a fox, which makes a sort of a scream. But when I looked for whatever made it, I couldn't find anything. She looked at me and simply said, "Well, that's weird." We sat there for a minute before we heard our daughter say, "Dad, why is Mimi in the backyard?" Well, Mimi was our neighbor, whom the girls thought as of their grandma. "What?" my wife said quickly. We looked toward the yard and saw an elderly woman standing by the creek. The light hardly illuminated her, but from what we could see, it was her silhouette, barely visible against the darkness. I stood up. "Why is she out there?" Sarah said. "Well, I don't know, but I'm going to go find out." I threw on my sandals and went out the back door into the cool night air. "Well, hello, Mary. Are you okay? Do you need anything?" None of my questions were answered. The woman just stood there, her back toward me, staring into the water. As I got closer, I noticed the awful stench emanating from her. She smelled like stagnant water, a smell that reeked of rotten eggs and decay. "Mary, do you need something?" My question was never answered. I turned and walked toward the house, heart pounding in my chest. My wife, I met my wife in the kitchen. She was still looking at the woman. "Maybe you should let Bob know that she's out there," she said. "Yeah, good idea. I'll go over. You go tuck the kids in, and just tell them she was looking for something." I went to our neighbor's Bob's house and rang the doorbell. Once Bob answered, he seemed excited that I was over, even though it was late. He told me to come in and ask if I wanted anything. "Do you want a drink, beer, or anything? Mary can get it for you," he said. His wife, Mary, then peeked her face around the corner of the kitchen. "Well, hey, Mary, what were you looking for outside?" I asked. "Well, excuse me?" Her brow furrowed in confusion. "Well, you were in our backyard a couple minutes ago. I was just wondering if you needed help finding something." The couple fell silent. They looked at each other, faces etched with concern. "So you saw her?" Bob said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Well, yeah, I'm not bad. I just need to know if you dropped something in the creek so I can help you get it." "Well, no, honey, that wasn't me, but we know exactly who you're talking about. We call her Margaret." "We see her every now and then," Mary said. Her voice slightly quivered. "Wait, so who is she?" I asked, starting to feel chills. "Well, that's what we're trying to find out ourselves. We don't know. We do, however, know she's not kind. One time, Bob went out to ask her who she was. She just screamed in his face. He fell over, and when he looked back at her, she was gone," Mary explained. "Where are the kids?" Bob asked me, his tone urgent. "Oh, they're in the house." "Oh, you need to get home now," Mary told me. I didn't even question why. I just bolted out the door. I ran to our house when I burst in the front door. It was eerily quiet, but one horrifying detail I noticed: was the back door was wide open. I had forgotten to lock it. We live in a gated community, and you kind of grow out of the habit of locking doors at night when you live in a community you trust so much. Sarah? Nobody answered. I sprinted upstairs to my daughter's room, where I found all three of them huddled in the closet crying. Their sobs tore at my heart. What happened? Are y'all okay? She's in the house. The lady's in the house, and it's not Mary. It's not Mary, my wife cried. I know, but it's okay. I'm here now. Just then, I heard a thump from the stairs, the sound echoing through the quiet house. At this point, my daughters were sobbing uncontrollably. Dad, is she going to hurt us? One of my daughters asked, her little body shaking. No, I'm not going to let that happen. I might have appeared brave to my family, but I was on the verge of tears. I heard another thump. I wanted to stay in the closet with my family, but I had to do something. I grabbed my daughter's softball bat, which was leaning against the corner of the closet. I grabbed it hard and slowly walked out of the room, preparing to knock the crap out of whoever was threatening my family. I rounded the corner and looked down the stairs. There, on the third step, was a woman. She was staring at me. Her dress was dark, dirty, and gray. Her hair was black, dripping wet. Her eyes were black too. Her mouth was set in a rigid line. I just stood there, frozen in place. I could not do anything. The woman slowly backed down the stairs and walked out of view. After a few moments, the back door shut with a soft click. What the heck? I said out loud, my mind racing. Who was that, and why did she come into my house? I never believed in the paranormal, but had just seen a ghost. I remembered my family was waiting for me when I returned. I ran back to the closet and embraced them, feeling their warmth and their rapid breathing hearts. It's okay. It was just Mimi, I told my daughters. I gave my wife a look, and she went along with the little white lie. We sat there for a moment before everyone's adrenaline subsided, and the girls grew sleepy once again. We asked them if they wanted to sleep at Mimi and Bob's house tonight. They excitedly said, "Oh, yes." We packed small bags, but before we left, I double checked every single lock in the house. I also made sure the lady was actually gone, and she was. But the water droplets she left were not, glistening ominously in the dim light. We ran to their house quickly, terrified of what we might see outside. Luckily, we made it safe. What were you doing at our house? My daughter asked Mary. Mary glanced at me, and we gave her a look, letting her know she needed to lie to them. Oh, I was just looking for a little sugar. I made some cookies. They're there in the kitchen. The girls ran into the kitchen, their fear momentarily forgotten at the prospect of sweets. Thank you, I said. Relief washed over me. Of course, So, everyone all right? Tell us what happened. We told Bob and Mary the story, and they were shocked. They had seen the woman several times before, but never thought she would go inside anyone's home. That night, the girls fell asleep quickly in the living room floor. However, us four adults never slept a wink. We all talked about our experiences, including what I had seen at the bottom of the stairs. I also told Mary and Bob about what happened to me earlier that day. They tried finding information online, but there was nothing. The next day, we took a trip to the public library and asked if I could research old documents. We got permission and spent all day going through files of papers. Eventually, my wife found a paper from 1907. The article she pointed out reported a woman in town being found dead in a creek. The article was very little detailed, didn't specify who the woman was or which creek it was. However, we allowed ourselves to believe this was a woman we had encountered. After that night, we lived in constant fear. My job eventually caused us to move to Georgia, where my wife and I live now. Our daughters are both now in college and have no idea what actually happened that night. As for Bob and Mary, they lived in that house until a year ago when they moved to a different city. They told us that they saw Margaret a couple times since the incidents. We can only hope that the woman is at rest now and will not terrorize anyone else who lives along that creek. I don't know what to say to that one. Now, it's a little different, if you go places maybe searching for something, but when you're literally in your house trying to tuck your children to bed and something lets itself in the back door and runs inside the house. Crazy fly. Did y'all see that? There was a fly on the camera. Whatever. That's weird. Either way, that was a creepy story, and I'm glad that it was not me because I don't know what I'd do about that one. Man. This week was pretty interesting. Super creepy story. Some strange folklore that I've never heard of before, especially bats. I've never even heard folklore about bats before. Um, this next week, though, when we get into the next omen, it's going to be birds. And there's a couple of pages on birds. And then the following week from that, it's going to be some dreams. So we'll get into that. And our very next story that we're going to be covering is called When Camping Becomes a Nightmare. And what's crazy, look at that, guys. We're already halfway through the book. So I'll have to be hunting down another book again. But these are really awesome. Enjoy reading them. Like I said, they're super creepy, but appreciate you guys, like I said, coming in and joining in with us. And like I said, hopefully you guys got to watch the video of the crout we made yesterday. And this is a result of it right here. Smells good. Like I said, I made that video probably 3 weeks ago now, I guess. But now I got to show you guys this picture. The garden has changed so much since y'all have seen it. I took this picture just to show what the garden had looked like before I tilled it, but all of this stuff in the first 2 rows is gone now. All that's been pulled up, and that's where all of these potatoes came from. We've already dug our potatoes, and uh, I actually canned 7 quarts of what's called dry canned. It's something that I recently learned about on the Celebrating Appalachian channel. And well, welcome in there, Stuart. It's good to see you. Welcome in. Appreciate you coming in all the way from Scotland. That is so cool. But the dry canning is something I've never heard of, but we tried it and it looks good. We haven't even opened one to try it yet, but basically you cut up your potatoes like you're going to fry them, and you put them in a pot of water covered and let it soak for 4 to 6 hours. All that does is pull the starches out of the potatoes to make them where they won't fall apart. Once you once they've soaked, drain the water, pour it off, lay those things on something, dry them off good. Then in a bowl, you take your potatoes, you drizzle some oil over it and some salt, kind of shake them together. Then you pack your jars, seal them, and then put them right into the pressure canner and cook them at 10 pounds of pressure for 40 minutes if you're using quarts and 30 if you're using pints. And once it's done, you just turn the pressure canner off, let it naturally come down to pressure, and they're done. And whenever you're ready to eat them, you just dump those things out right in a hot skillet and just brown them good, and it's just like fried potatoes, but they're canned. So how neat is that? So you can have fried potatoes in a can, you can have boiled potatoes in a can. So there's so many options. Hopefully maybe tomorrow, what's left of our potatoes, I have a wooden box, and we're going to do like they did in the old days and put those in a wooden box and cover them with some lime. Just preserve them for whenever we need them. So you're welcome. Thank you for that. So yeah, if you're interested in any kind of canning, I'm just Celebrating Appalachian channel is a place to go because they do all kind of stuff. That's how I learned how to make my first batch of apple jelly, and I'm still eating off of that apple jelly today. And I made it like 3 years ago, so pretty neat stuff. But appreciate you guys coming out. Hopefully you learned a little something, some omens and folklore and super creepy story and just all kind of neat stuff. Like I said, the video that's coming out next week, that one is the one that David Blair sent in about an experience that his great grandfather had. And then following that, we'll have a submitted story of a person finding out just how true some folklore actually is. So we'll have that coming up. And then after that, I'll be working on even another submitted story and just all kind of neat stuff. So like I said, we appreciate you guys coming out. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Appreciate you guys for giving us a thumbs up and sharing this out, helping us grow and leaving the comments. And I haven't shared this in a little while, but if you have any kind of stories that you would like to share, you can send them by email to myerstalesofappalachia@gmail.com. That's there for you guys. If you want to maybe handwrite or story or something like that, we have this P.O. box here that's available for you guys. Myers Tales of Appalachia, P.O. Box 312, Scottsboro, Alabama 35968. So that's there for you guys as well. If you guys just want to send a letter, have any questions, any of that, perfectly fine. We try to get back to you guys as fast as we can. It's even okay if you guys want to leave your story in the comment section down below. I've had a couple of those. So we appreciate all you guys do, all your support, all of your stories. Like I said, we appreciate you guys. And with that, we'll see y'all next time. So y'all have a good one, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys.